A legacy of oppression and the fight for equality in America is far more complicated and painful than many people realize. Right after the Civil War ended in 1865, the condition of freed slaves actually worsened compared to when they were enslaved. The Southern economy was heavily dependent on black labor, and former slaveholders were desperate to keep that workforce under control. They imposed a series of harsh laws designed to trap black people in a cycle of dependency and servitude. Among these, loitering laws were particularly brutal. If a black person couldn't prove they had a home or a place to sleep, they could be arrested on the spot and forced to work in fields or on railroads indefinitely without any pay. Instead of paying the workers themselves, the compensation went to those who captured them, effectively creating a new form of slavery disguised as law enforcement. This oppressive system only ended briefly during Reconstruction, but here's where it gets controversial. When Northern forces withdrew and left the South to its own devices, the situation deteriorated drastically. Southern whites relentlessly dehumanized black Americans well into the 20th century. Things began to ease only when the Great Migration, massive movement of African Americans from the South to northern cities, started to reshape demographics. Yet the grievous suffering of impoverished, uneducated African Americans remained a constant and has been documented extensively. It's important to understand that for those suddenly declared free, but left with no resources, education, or opportunities, exploitation was almost inevitable. Many were forced back into conditions resembling slavery by sheer necessity and lack of options. Even white abolitionists, who had fought against slavery, eventually gave up on Reconstruction efforts, abandoning black communities to their fates. Without the ability to read, write, or support themselves, many black families had no choice but to rely on their former enslavers for survival. Help that was really just another form of control and subjugation. It's a painful and tragic reality that many overlook today. This history is precisely why diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, initiatives were created. To try and create a fairer playing field for minorities who have faced systemic disadvantages for generations. If you think about the long chain of historical injustices faced by black Americans, DEI efforts are not about giving special privileges, but about finally opening doors so everyone has an equal opportunity to succeed. America, as a nation, is culturally rich and generally inclusive, but when it comes to true equity, fair treatment, and resource allocation, there is still a glaring gap.
And this is the part most people miss. The Trump administration, arguably one of the most openly racist presidencies since the eras of Andrew Johnson and Woodrow Wilson, has been aggressively undermining diversity efforts. His approach is aimed at erasing the significance of slavery and minimizing America's original sin of racism. Trump's administration has systematically removed people of color from positions of power, replaced them with loyalists, and promoted an agenda that favors white dominance. He's less interested in merit or fairness, and more focused on ensuring control and loyalty, essentially creating his own modern-day slaves within the halls of power. This blatant racism is on display for everyone to see, from education policy to historical narratives in museums, to the reshaping of governmental institutions. What's especially alarming is that many black and brown voters still supported Trump, despite the clear threat his policies posed to their communities.
This paradox opens a critical debate about the role of education, awareness, and misinformation in shaping voting behavior. Why would those most harmed by such policies vote against their own best interests? It's a heartbreaking reminder of how systemic ignorance and manipulation can trap people in cycles of disadvantage. Some even reject DEI initiatives, not realizing that these programs are designed to help elevate them and address historic injustices. This raises provocative questions. Are voters truly informed about their own history? Is it fair to blame individuals for these choices when they lack access to full information? On the other hand, I have critiqued aspects of the woke culture myself. The original idea behind being woke, awareness of social injustices is valuable and necessary.
But it has been hijacked and stretched into a kind of extreme political correctness that stifles free speech and overwhelms society with rigid rules imposed by people who may lack real-world experience. There's a balance to be found between sensitivity and freedom of expression, and finding that balance is crucial for a healthy society. Despite these challenges, DEI remains essential if the United States hopes to move forward socially and economically. We are currently navigating a difficult period marked by political and social turmoil, but this too shall pass. I firmly believe America is not as cold-hearted as figures like Trump would portray. His influence, largely enacted through temporary executive orders, will be reversed after he leaves office. Yet the damage he has done to the fabric of American norms is no small matter and may take a long time to heal.
His ego blinds him to the true consequences of his actions, and thankfully, many of his initiatives will likely fail in the long run. What remains to be seen is the cost we, the people, will have to pay for this dark chapter. Will justice be served? Will those who enabled such divisive leadership be held accountable? The next administration has the responsibility to restore dignity, equity, and trust, ideals that so many Americans yearn for. So here's a question for you. In a complex society where power, race, and history collide, how do we balance the urgent need for DEI with concerns about overreach in woke culture? And why do you think some communities resist efforts designed to empower them? Share your thoughts. Let's have an honest conversation about race, politics, and progress in America.